Welcome to the Femalepreneur Coach podcast. I am your host, Rebecca Barr. I am a transformational mindset and business coach and six-figure award-winning female entrepreneur. Ladies, I'm here to tell you that business and making money doesn't have to be hard when you're in alignment and flow. Inside this podcast, I will be showing you how to transform your mindset to program it for success, how to maximize your money vibrations, and how to redesign your business for ultimate financial and time freedom. You know you are meant to live an epic life. Now it's time to claim it. Hi ladies, welcome to another episode of the Femalepreneur Coach podcast. I am your host, Rebecca Barr. I am super excited to be here talking with you today about a topic that really is on my heart, because as a business coach, I see so much of this going on right now, and I feel like a lot of women need this reminder. But first of all, you may be watching or you may be listening to this episode on my podcast. You may be watching in my free Facebook group, or you might be watching on YouTube. So however you're consuming this content, you're welcome. Thank you for being here. I'm super excited. So the thing that I want to speak to you about today is essentially your need to be successful right now, and to be competing with those big, huge numbers that you see in the online space is probably the thing that is keeping you further from that goal. And here's why, essentially. So I've seen this a lot recently, and it's kind of a little bit heartbreaking. It's like a blessing and a curse with a coaching business, in that I have the power of perspective, because I see a lot of different business owners, a lot of different business women at different stages of the journey, covering different industries, and yet there's a lot of themes that are just so common to them, right? So at the moment, I've spoken to a lot of women that I am, peers, success sisters, like all of the things. And I see them tying themselves up in knots for these incredible Instagram scroll stopping, like light numbers on their launches. And it's always been that way since I've been in the online space. But I feel even more so when things are moving, there becomes, as in the online space, buyers' habits are changing, algorithms are changing, Facebook ads are going up, like things are getting harder to convert. That is just statistics, and it means that we're kind of in the process of a transition, I think, in the online space. And a lot of people who are a little bit spiritual feel that energetic shift, like things are changing. But what you tend to see is that when new things are coming in, people that have had success in one particular way, they're still very much holding on to the old ways. And rather than moving, adapting, and being innovative with how to get the same outcome, if not better, they are like forcefully holding on to these old ways of doing business, and then really attaching their self-worth to that outcome. If things aren't successful, it's because there's something wrong with them, and that breaks my heart. But I see it so often. It's quite interesting actually with the coaching space, in that I think because I was an entrepreneur first, and because I've had that longevity of business, coming into the coaching space is a whole different vibe and mindset to the women that have transitioned maybe from corporate, that are high achieving women that are now coaches. The business element has kind of tested them in ways that they maybe didn't foresee. They've probably come into this space believing that things were easy and it's all about showing up with your best self. And there is an element of that, absolutely. But there's also a lot more masculine principles that go on behind the scenes that a lot of people don't talk about. So it's almost setting people up for failure, thinking that every launch needs to be a 5-6 figure launch. And if you can't achieve that number, then there's something wrong with you. Actually, for me, and I've mentioned this many times in podcasts, success is about longevity and sustainability. It's like the most unsexiest thing. It's about being consistent. It's about fulfilling your basic human needs for safety by knowing that you have reoccurring revenue coming in every month, that you have a certain level of stability in your life, that you can then go off and make bold decisions and be creative and innovative, but you know that your basic needs are met. A lot of women don't want to hear that. They want these exciting 6-figure launches, 50k launches, and that huge social media presence. But they're really kind of then setting themselves up for failure. Like I say, they're missing the joy of being a business owner. They're putting their self-worth, their happiness, their joy on a number, on a pedestal that doesn't really even mean anything anyway, because money is just numbers. So first of all, I want to say, I am not opposed, obviously, as a money mindset coach and a female empowerment coach. I'm all about those big, audacious goals, those big numbers in business, and go big or go bigger and dream big, but do it from a place of detachment. Because what happens is when you put your when you can truly detach from the outcome of a success, of a launch, or of a a new program or a new offer, and you can instead choose to be happy now, what happens is you end up attracting such a better vibe of clients. All of the money that comes to you feels better, but also you get to be happy now. You're not waiting for that moment when, those zeros or that number hits your bank. You can just be happy now, because really, truly, all we have is right now. And I think I really feel that in my soul, because obviously for anybody that follows me and knows my story, one of my turning points in business was when my mum suddenly passed away, and to the point where I literally saw her the day before. She was absolutely fine, but still talking about this laundry list of things that she wanted to get done. And when I'm healthier, when I've got more money, when I've got more time, I'm going to do this, this, and this. And that's kind of, and then obviously the next day she'd gone. She had an aneurysm, and it was literally instantaneous. So there was no kind of build up, getting her ducks in a row, feeling gratitude for what she had right now. It's just she was here and she wasn't. And that has really, oh, I've got chills thinking about that again. I think it's our anniversary this week, and it's kind of bringing up a lot of things. And maybe that's why I've called forward this episode, because I just feel like, ladies, like, we need to get some perspective on what success in life truly is and happiness truly is. Because that's, and I truly believe like everything happens for a reason. I think I was very much going down that path of being in my masculine, hustling, grinding, the next thing, the next thing, the next milestone. And don't get me wrong, I'm a manifesting generator. There's always going to be so much newness in my world. I'm always going to be building, and in that energy of building, because that's where my joy is. But equally, I've really learned that you have to ground in and be happy now, and take the moments now while you've got them, while the kids are small, whilst, I mean, what a time that we even live in right now. So that the fact that I'm sitting here at home speaking with you guys, and hopefully supporting you on some level to, again, empower yourself and have a better quality of life. Like, are you kidding? Like, how is this possible? How is this my life? I'm so grateful for every day. But it also means that I can afford to take risks in business. I can afford to follow my creative nudges, because I'm not held to the outcome of that. If it doesn't lead to sales, or it doesn't lead to a lot of sales, that's absolutely fine, because I've done what felt good to me in the moment, and what felt good to my soul. And ultimately, we're all here to fulfill our potential anyway. So if that feels like something that needed to happen and be birthed, and then it gets out into the world, and maybe I don't necessarily have the success, and that's definitely happened in business, that I've anticipated or wanted, that's absolutely fine, because I did the thing. And that in itself is a blessing, because every time you say you're going to do something, and you get those ideas and concepts, and then you go and do the thing, you're only building more expertise, more mastery, more experience, more confidence in yourself, more authority with your own subconscious brain, that you are the kind of woman who actually says they're going to do something and gets it done. That has power. That will pay you dividends now in your mindset, and also in the future. So nothing is wasted. And also, I'm the queen of leverage, right? So anything I create, I find ways to leverage it further anyway. And that's what I'd love for you to encourage you to do, so that truly there is never a desperation for clients, for things to convert. And I think when you seek that validation from something outside of yourself, and you can't be happy now, then really you're giving your power away. And that's really sad, because it's hard to get that power back when you're putting it on everything else. This is why a lot of people buy designer brands. And I love designer brands, don't get me wrong. I am a shoe girl. I will buy shoes and Louboutins and Jimmy Choos and Valentino and all the things, because that brings me joy. That's not coming from a place of when expecting that trust to transfer. So sometimes people buy expensive branded things because they want that trust of the brand and the reputation of that brand to transfer to them. So it's like, if I'm driving a certain car, people are going to think that I'm successful. If I'm wearing a certain brand of clothes and people know that they're expensive, they're going to think that I'm worthy. So you've got to be mindful of these things. When you're putting your happiness and your self-worth on an outcome outside of yourself, you're essentially giving away your power and seeking validation from others. No good can come from that place. place, and you need to have radical awareness that if that is coming up for you, how often have you done that where you are like, oh, if I don't get this thing, then I'm going to be so gutted, you know? And I've used this language in the past. And I think that's the beauty of being a spiritual being and having a human experience and committing to a lifetime of development, is that I will continue to have shifts and up levels, and my job is to then kind of pay that forward to the people that are not quite where I am. So that's kind of something that I felt really passionate about sharing. It's about being happy now, because truly we only have this moment, and ultimately that's what life is about. It's not about your next launch. But also what I kind of touched on was the need, you know, the need for me to fall in love with the process. So as I said, I'm a manifesting generator. I'm never going to run out of ideas. I am the most creative and innovative place, you know, point in time that I've ever been. I have so many ideas and inspiration and ways in which I can help and ways in which I can serve, that my business moves very quickly, and sometimes it can be hard even for my team to catch up with me, let alone my audience. So again, what I've decided to do is just fall in love with the process, because that's ultimately what gives me joy, is creating new things, being innovative, launching new offers, refining new offers, creating new content. I'm in love with the business of business, you know. I love the psychology of the way that people buy, and why one funnel will convert versus another, and how the shifts and trends in consumer buying and all of the things. Like, I love the process of being in business, and I think it means that you can then really give yourself, you can remove your ego from the situation. You know, it's not about me and whether I am good enough, worthy, strategic enough, or whether I am a good enough coach. It's about, and that's a real blessing, it's about the end user, the client, your soul aligned clients. It's about them, and you can afford to then be curious about things and just kind of follow those intuitive nudges. And that's truly how, like, these little things that, you know, that are born, birthed, whatever, created, launched, that are truly innovative and quite magical. So I launched a book club recently, a book writing club, and I haven't seen anybody else doing that in the way that I'm doing it. It was just something that I was getting my nails done. I was like, I really obviously want to write my book this year. Kind of said it last year, but didn't really fully commit. This year I'm all in. What can I do differently that is actually going to make sure that I do the thing this year? But also, I don't want to do it alone. Like, I love doing things in community. I love being held to account. I love to make processes fun. So I was like, I should book a book club around it, because I'm sure that there's other women, and I know that I've spoken to other women that are saying, I would love to write my book this year. And are we going to do it? Yeah, maybe, but will it be fun? Probably not. So that's why how I then came up with the idea, how could I make it more fun? How could I bring more joy to that process whilst keeping myself accountable, whilst supporting others? Because again, as a business coach, I'm all about, you know, filtering down the learnings and the investments that I make, and just, you know, make it a whole vibe. So then when the book eventually comes to fruition, it's as much for my audience, because they will have seen that whole process, and feel part of that journey, than me as well, fulfilling something that I said I was going to do, and also of being service. So that's what I kind of created. Now, did I get thousands of people that signed up for that? No. But am I so excited about the women that are in the group? Absolutely. And do I feel like that is exactly the right container? Yes. I have like intimate knowledge of their book proposals, their big ideas and concepts, their growth plans. I get to support them in that. It feels so beautiful. So obviously, if you are thinking about that this year, let me know. But also, so that's just something that came forwards. And if I'd focused solely on, it needs to be X number of women, I need to make so much money, I need to get that return on investment in coaches, it really would have stole the joy that I'm having now, which is like, even though it is a smaller group, that just makes it more intimate. That's amazing. That means I can build and make it better and better and better, and this is something that I can scale further later. But just enjoy the process now for myself. It's amazing. The next thing is also to really focus on your client and be of service. So if you want to have more value, money's an exchange. So if you want to have more money, more sales, more value coming into your business, you need to be a person of value. And genuinely, like, a lot of women, like, just my mind is blown and this isn't just women, so I don't want to like women bash or anything, but it's like they expect these huge numbers And yet we're living in such a time of arrogance that there's almost an entitlement element to that, where they don't want to serve the people. They don't want to think about the individuals. They don't want to be of the highest good for the people that are going to invest in their program. It's just bums on seats, people through the doors, numbers on the tally chart, and something that they can then brag about later. And that to me is just so sad, because ultimately the divine law of compensation will compensate you for that energetic exchange. If you turn up with the best of intentions, with the highest possible good for your clients, you are going to call in the women and the clients that are meant to be there. You can always expand and you can always scale at a later date, but it's about being in integrity and focusing on your client. Be a person of value if you want more value coming to you. It's why I always say the revenue's in the reviews, right? So if you give your clients a really great experience, they're going to talk about you to other people. That will then, you know, if you believe in karma or the divine law of compensation, it's going to come back to you. It has to, absolutely has to. In one way or another, it's going to come back to you. So don't keep focusing on it has to be now, it has to be this amount, it has to be this launch, it has to be this thing. And if you do struggle with that, I would invite you to check back in with your highest connection to your mission, like your why essentially behind your business. What is it that drives you? Why did you even start this business in the first place? Presumably, and if there's other podcast episodes that you can listen to, but presumably you have a reason why you're here and why you're doing the damn thing, because I always feel like there's easier ways to make money, right? If you're a coach or a service-based entrepreneur, there's always ways to make money. And yes, we can leverage our time and, you know, you can have these incredible opportunities. But if you're not doing it for a deeper reason, if there isn't a higher mission or why or purpose to what it is that you're doing, you have to love what you're doing, why you're doing it, or how you're doing it. Then to really have that longevity in business and to have that ability to be able to step back and remove your ego from a situation and just say, this is still ultimately feeding my higher good. It's why when as a business owner, I goal set and I get into the detail probably every month or quarter, have that strategic focus. But for me, it's all about the long game. Business has always been about the long game. At no point do I want to go backwards in life and go back to corporate. At no point do I want to have to, you know, go back on the freedom that I have now. I want more freedom. I want more incredible things. So I've got to continue to build on what I'm creating, and I've got to have that longer picture vision, because that's how it's truly sustainable. You know, these artificial highs and this is what creates the feast and famine cycles in your money and in your business. Because I know lots of women that are literally beside themselves if they don't hit those credible numbers for their launches, because they have nothing else in the pipeline, nothing else beyond this launch. It's kind of like all or nothing. And that's, again, truly sad. You always need to have multiple revenue streams. You always need to have multiple ways to make money and multiple opportunities to serve your clients. You're leaving money on the table if you don't. And then the last thing that I just wanted to kind of share with you along this theme is, as I said before, commit to growth and mastery. Commit to that for your clients, you know, because again, that helps you to just know that you are building, you are getting better and better. Even if a launch fails, it's just an opportunity for growth, and to look back with a sense of curiosity and objectivity about, okay, at what point in the process did that not necessarily work as it could have done? You know, was it with attracting people? Was it ensuring that they turn up to whatever event that you've had? Is it did I do enough to convert them at the event? Did I give them a compelling enough reason to work with me? Did I share the value of that offer? And it's not about making yourself bad or wrong. Again, it's an opportunity for growth. And I think for me, I am always working with at least one coach, if not multiple. I'm always looking for growth and mastery in different areas of life, not just my business. Because how you do one thing is how you do everything in life. So it's going to filter back to my business one way or another anyway. I'm always looking at being supported. I'm always looking at adding extra strings to my bow, to increasing my knowledge, investing in courses, adding modalities. So I've got, I think, 5 different modalities that I use with my clients, as well as the experience that I have in entrepreneurship and business. I'm always filling into, you know, pouring into myself and my skill set, so that again, I can filter that down to my clients. So I can always be innovative. I can be in the moment. I can pivot because I know what's going on. I'm not, you know, working in my business in silo and it's all about me and that's it. There's an element of like cutting off distractions and not being, you know, if that keeps you stuck and in procrastination, absolutely. But it's also about Sorry, I have a frog in my throat. But it's also about just being in integrity and committing to that growth and mastery will give you a lot more longevity in business. You are bigger than one launch. You are bigger than one offer. You are bigger than 1 month in your business. And I want to remind you of that. So I hope that you've enjoyed this episode today. Let me know in the comments what it is that you're going to be taking away, your observations, your aha moment. I really do enjoy that feedback. Obviously, make sure you like, comment, or subscribe if you're watching on YouTube or on my podcast. So just to recap, it's about falling in love with the process. It's about detaching from the outcome, focusing on your client if you want more value, being a person of value, having a deeper connection to your why and your mission in business, and then also committing to growth and mastery. Thank you for listening to this episode. It's been amazing to share this time with you, and I feel honoured to be part of your journey. If you've loved what you've heard, had an aha moment, or found value in this episode, then please do like, comment and share. I would love to connect with you on Instagram and Facebook, so come and find me, and I look forward to helping you build your epic life.